I think everybody's here. So we will open council time for Wednesday, October the 21st, beginning with the old business and approving of the minutes of our last meeting.
Move to approve.
Or second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes from our last meeting without objection. Motion approved. Next item, I think we're at new business, joint executive group on homelessness, MOA, and charter.
I believe Lindsay's going to go over this and provide a summary, but this is the MOA that's been drafted between Councillor Blum, Councillor Lentz, and 2 council members from the City of Vancouver. So I'll let Lindsay provide the overview.
So just to give you some background on what this is, I know there have been some discussions about addressing the continuum of care, and I want to be clear that this would not modify anything as it relates to the continuum of care. The continuum of care and the HUD processes would continue to be done by the Council for the Homeless, just as they have been and will continue along that same process. However, I think that there was an interest amongst multiple of the councillors, both at the County Council and the City Council, to say that HUD's requirements, while certainly an important part of the homeless system, shouldn't be the entire conversation as it relates to addressing homelessness in our community. And so how do we come together and resolve some of the bigger global issues as it relates to homelessness? And how do we work together between the city and the county? Because of course, homelessness is an issue that doesn't really know jurisdictional lines, although of course the city has more of the homeless population than the county, the unincorporated county. But what this is the creation of a joint executive group. It's an MOA that would exist as a policy forum to consider homelessness comprehensively, holistically, identify those possible gaps and opportunities for coordination. But this body would not actually make policy. It would not make financial actual financial appropriations. It could make recommendations and policy recommendations. That I think the idea is that the county members on the group and the city members on the group would then take that back to the city council and county council respectively, with the hopes that then those larger bodies will approve those and we can coordinate. It's clear within the agreement that Clark County will remain the lead agency on this issue, and the city will play a significant and supporting role. So the way that the agreement is drafted is that there will be 2 elected officials from each jurisdiction that will be appointed by the respective city and county councils for each jurisdiction. And then the intent is that eventually there would be a representative from one of the smaller cities, as well as 2 individuals with lived experience, and that would comprise the board as a whole. Both the city and county would also have an administrative staff person to serve as a non-voting member on the group. So the city council, I'm looking at the calendar, the city council discussed this on Monday the 19th, and there was general support from the city council to move forward. So this will be on their consent agenda for their meeting October 26th. And this is the chance for the county council to review it. And if we wanted to, we could put it on for approval at one of the December hearings. I'm happy to answer any questions, but I don't know if Councillor Blum or Councillor Lentz want to add anything.
Do either of you, would you like to add to this?
No, I think Lindsay summarized it really well. I would just reinforce the idea that this is not trying to supplant or replace the continuum of care and the HUD guidelines, but it's recognizing that that's not the full solution. And I think mental health, chemical dependency, and other programs to address those things are really what's needed. So we see this as being an addition to, not a replacement of. And the purpose of the group is really to bring people together to be able to have conversation with a target towards increasing positive outcomes. So it's not a policy board, as Lindsay said, but an area where we can discuss, the county and the city can discuss, as well as smaller cities and individuals with experiences, to make suggestions that can then go back and be implemented by the respective bodies in the policy. So it's a way to collaborate and do a better job in responding to this issue in our community.
Agreed, and I think both Lindsay and Councillor Blum have said that very well. We've heard we hear continually that there are gaps in the system for remedying and addressing homelessness. And so this is a way to have a group come together and actively learn about and talk about ways to address those gaps in support of the larger system. And again, because it is less than a quorum of both governing bodies, it really is more of a discussion group to come up with ideas and then bring them back to our respective councils to hopefully continue to improve and move toward greater solutions.
Okay. This has had action. Are we needing to take any action on it, or is this just informative?
I think the question today is whether you want to move this forward to be put on a public, it wouldn't need to have a public hearing, but you'd need to put it forward onto a separate business item. So if there's a majority, obviously I think Councillor Blum and Councillor Lenz are supportive of this, but if there's a majority of the council who wants to put this on for approval, then we can get it scheduled.
Madam Chair, I have a little bit of input here.
Councillor Betty.
I think this is a good step forward. I think it's a gap that we really need to fill to help inform the policy decisions of both the city and the county. And just anecdotally, so for instance, we rate grants through community services, and we need outreach, and we have grossly insufficient outreach in the homeless community right now. And we've really done very little as a policy decision to help inform our grant proposals to our nonprofits that administer a lot of them. I mean, we should require outreach be part of grant proposals. I think this kind of group discussion with policymakers will help inform the process to bring it back to the respective councils. And it may not be perfect. It may need to adjust, but I think we need to do it. So I'd like to move this forward. The only constructive comment I would have is I really would like the cities included right now, besides Vancouver. You know, I think at least have an option where if Battleground wants to join in or Camas wants to join in, they could at least have an appointed person sit in on this agreed group. So I don't want to look to years in the future or sometime in the future. I'd like to make that option available for any participating city right now.
And the way that the MOA is drafted, that person could join at any time. And so it's really up to, I think, once we have the approval to have the city and county appoint their respective members, and then have those 4 people then reach out to the city and do the cities, and then do the process of also trying to solicit the 2 individuals with lived experience to get them on the board as well.
Okay, super. And then just a small point, because it's the first time I've ever seen it. You know, the one bullet, promote social, racial, and ethnic justice. You know, that's, dead on. We understand the disproportionate impacts in that community. But I see a new term of art that I've never seen before, LGBTQ2S. I'm not sure where that came from and whether it excludes anyone. It seems to change almost monthly as an acronym. In any case, where did that come from?
So the 2 Qs refers to the Q, and the number 2 refers to querying questioning, which is listed in there. And then the S is spirit. That's the word. So it's, I think, intended to be as holistic and inclusive as possible.
So, Madam Chair, I would be a third vote to move this forward. I think I want to hear from, the whole city of Vancouver, and hopefully we'll have other cities join in right away.
Okay. Councillor Rose.
Yeah, and I would just, I would support moving forward as well. And I know this has been a lot of work. We've been talking about this off and on for the better part of 2020. And so I appreciate Councilor Lentz and Councilor Blum working on this and bringing us back something that we can, that everybody feels comfortable with. So I would also be in favor of moving it forward.
The last remaining question that I would have then is there a need to have it on November 17th? We of course have the budget that day, or is it okay to wait until one of the days in December?
We can also approve this at a council time as well if the council chooses to do it sooner.
I would be supportive of putting on council time and getting it done sooner rather than later.
Okay, we can do that.
When would we expect to hear back from the city council at large?
So the city council is going to take this up at their Monday meeting, October 26th. So I think it may be, I don't know if we could do it next week, the 28th, or Wednesday, November 4th.
So next week.
Okay.
If they're talking about it next week, then we could hopefully be as close to aligned as we can with our meetings.
Okay, we could do that.
Okay, moving on to the next item, which couldn't find my agenda. Sorry, I didn't print it, so I'd like to see it on the screen, please. Council reports. Work session requests.
No requests today. Thank you.
Policy issues. Lindsay.
The only thing for me as a reminder, we have our legislative delegation meeting coming up. So if you have any additional thoughts with the legislative agenda or anything, I just wanted to flag that so you knew that was coming.
What date is that again?
It's the next Wednesday.
Okay. We will adjourn then into executive session for one pending litigation for 20 minutes. Is there action after that?
No, but we
Okay.
probably need more than 20 minutes. I would guess 30 minutes. And I just need a couple minutes to get everyone on board. Maybe we can have a couple minute break in between.
All right. Okay. We'll go to a different login for our executive session, and our council time is adjourned. Thank you.